Welcome to another episode of Talk and Awe. After watching a 4-hour school board meeting this week, I decided I better talk a little bit about the education system. This is how I've slammed the city. All right, let's start with the city. Just one quick little piece. Because after all, we're getting a tank. That's right. Well, not so much a tank. It's a wheeled vehicle as opposed to a tracked vehicle. But it's got a turret, any number of snap-on G.I. Joe accessories, 50 caliber machine gun, probably rocket launchers, missiles, one of them heat array things where when you point it at somebody, it's like a microwave and the people heat up. You've seen it on the Discovery Channel and stuff. And the sound stuff, they can mount all that on it. And they tout it as thermal. It's got thermal imaging. And I don't know. The fire department carries thermal imagers. You can buy handheld thermal imagers. State police have helicopters with thermal imaging. We don't need this weapon. And that's the only thing you can describe it as. It's not a rescue vehicle, it's a weapon. It is designed to transport troops into hostile areas. That's what it's for. That's the ultimate mission behind this design. Because you can't coat a soldier completely with body armor. So you put them inside an armored vehicle. Send them in. They get out, do their thing, get back in and leave. Keene isn't the only place this is happening. Everywhere in the United States this is happening. This is a grant from Homeland Security, the government, our hard-earned tax dollars at work. Now let me tell you, I'm pretty sure I've got this figured out as to why the government is starting to grant this type of weaponry to the cops and local areas. Here it is. My opinion only. I'm not suggesting any conspiracy theories, or maybe I am. Either way, it's my opinion. Here's what I think is going on. We've got the unrest. I mean, not just in our city and in our state and in our country, but we've got unrest around the world. We've got Libya. We all saw just what happened in Libya. The government hung on with every last fiber. I don't know. Our government sees us eventually becoming Libya because the government is just bad. Everybody in government, all right, not everybody in government, the majority of people in government, and certainly all of the people that have been in government for any length of time, they are bad people to the core. And eventually, they know, they see it coming with the Occupy protests and all the different little grassroots groups that are finally getting fed up with the government strangling all of our freedoms. And the government knows that eventually there will come a time when the people will rise up. And they want to be prepared. where they bring in the military vehicles to ordinary city police departments. That way there will be no need to bother the National Guard. You know, I don't know. It's a good thing we're getting out of Iraq. I'll say that. But what I think we should do is all these all this infrastructure stuff that needs to be done. Let's get the military to do it. The military, I mean, the military budget is huge. Spend some of that defense money on some of our own infrastructure. Give these guys that are coming back from Iraq some good, you know, honest work. Building roads and bridges. I mean, hey, some of these guys, that's what they do. Army Corps of Engineers, back in the 30s and 40s, you know, they were big. Or maybe not the 30s and 40s, maybe the 50s and 60s. I don't know. But they built all the dams and you know, they did great things for the country. So that's all I'm saying. Now let's wrap into the whole education stuff, because I may have to make 2 shows out of this. A lot of argument about the whole block scheduling thing, and everybody saying that we need block scheduling. It's the only way that our kids can learn. I didn't have block scheduling. Probably half of the people on the school board didn't have block scheduling. I can guarantee most of the teachers, when they were in high school, they didn't have block scheduling. Oh, maybe that's why they're not doing such a good job teaching our kids. Because they're stupid? Come on. Block scheduling, any type of rigid scheduling for high school is stupid. And I've got to say, I heard the student representatives, when they gave their little spiel, it sounded just like the student representatives when I was in high school. 4 minutes isn't enough to get from class to class. We said the exact same thing, because that was what we had. 3 to 4 minutes, somewhere in there, to go from class to class. So yeah, you got to run out, puff your cigarette down real quick, and get back to class. Or some of us did. But by not having block scheduling, that didn't hurt us. Some of us are very successful. I know lawyers who didn't have block scheduling. What we need in the schools is the flexibility to get the job done. Sure, some classes may need a 2-hour block. But give me 20 minutes of math and I'm done for the day. You know, there comes a point when even the most focused person has enough and starts to wander. It's just, it's in the psychosis or whatever it is that we all have. We can't be focused on the same exact thing for only a certain amount of time before eventually the mind shuts off and says, that's it, I'm done with this. And whatever comes after that is just lost. You want to talk what I think would be a good move for our kids? Let's structure school like work. You know, because after all, isn't that the ultimate goal in school? Is not only to give them the knowledge of certain things like when the Declaration of Independence was signed and stuff like that, but also to get them ready to go out into the working, productive world. So why not start right from the start and say, this is what you're headed for. Chained to a machine for the rest of your life, pushing buttons. 8 hours a day, no summer vacations, nothing. I would be all for a full year of school. No summer vacations. And why not? And you break stuff down. Maybe instead of just 8 periods a day, maybe split it into 16 periods a day. That way you can teach them more stuff. And instead of just one block of math a week, you give them 5 periods of math a week. Shorter. 20 minutes. One little theory. Boom, get it in your head. Off to your next class. Come back the next day. We'll give you another theory for your head. That way you can get it all wrapped around in there. You don't draw on 4.5 chapters in math in one class. The kids lose it. That was one of my biggest problems in school. And I believe our classes were 45 or 50 minutes long. We had 3 to 4 minutes to get from class to class. And school is not a social event. School is like work. So 3 to 4 minutes, yes, you've got plenty of time. If you're not going to meet your girlfriend for a quick interchange there in the hallway, or you're going to talk to your buddies, going from class to class should be, boom, focused. You go from this room to that room, get in there, get your stuff done, and go out. They shouldn't be socializing in school. That's where most of the problems come from. Most of the high school drama comes from everybody else worrying about what everybody else is doing and thinking. And it's stupid. Crack down on these kids. Crack down on them. Teach them. When you get out into the workplace, people aren't going to go, when they tell you to go from here to there and be there in 3 minutes, you're not going to say, that's not enough time. I've got to stop and talk to my friend. Because your ass will be fired. And why not classes about self-esteem, dignity, and respect? We teach all the brainiac stuff, math and science, and everything except how to treat people. Add in a couple of extra periods a day and teach kids how to treat people. Teach kids that respect is key. And everybody deserves respect, no matter what. Now, I don't want to say the school board's doing a bad job because I don't really know. I see just what I see on TV, which is basically a lot like the city runs. What we see on Cheshire TV for the school board stuff is the final school board meeting and any special public forums that they have. We don't get to see the committee meetings. You have to go online. I believe you can go online, though, and find out when and where all the committee meetings are, and I believe the public is invited to them, but I don't really know. I actually thought about running the school board, but probably not, because nobody's going to listen to me. I've got outrageous ideas. Like the fact that we have to crack down on our kids. We give them too much. We're so worried, about their body mass index that we pull all the sugary stuff out of schools and we pull all the drinks out, all the Coke and the the stuff, you know, the good stuff that kids are going to eat anyway. Pull all that out of school, and at the same time, you know, you go, oh, well, you don't really have to take physical ed if you don't want it. And it's dumb. That's another thing. Bring back the president's physical fitness test. Every kid should be able to do that right up until they graduate from high school. You know, or those that are able. Disabilities are allowed, stomach aches aren't. You know? I mean, face it, you got a guy with no arms, you can't expect him to do chin-ups. Unless somebody helps him. So, I don't know. But the education system has to be that. We have to take it back from the kids. We've made it so convenient for the kids because that's what we think they need. No. Think about it. You're at your job, doing your job like you've been doing it, and then all of a sudden your office gets new operating software or some new kind of system or something. And it's up to you to learn it. You don't, I mean, you adapt. You change. You know, kids have to learn this from the very beginning so it doesn't kill them when it happens to them in real life. There's just, and it's all on us. Members of the school board, members of the public who are insisting on block scheduling. What have you forgotten when you went to school? There was no slack. There was no, you know, it's funny because I went and filmed something in one of the schools, and I'm not going to single out which school or whatever, but I saw some horrible behavior by one of the kids. Talking back to the teacher, and the teacher threatened to get the principal, and the kid talked back again. And then you could tell, I mean, if I was an administrator in this building, this kid wouldn't be doing nothing except stuck in a classroom with the nose in a book. I don't know. It's just, it was unbelievable. The amount of coddling and oh, don't worry about it, your attitude sucks, but you're a good person. You know, it's not right. If your attitude sucks, you're not a good person. So, I mean, I've learned that the hard way. You know, I've always had that, you know, me attitude my entire life. Until finally, a few years ago, I realized, hey, you know, it's not all about me. You know, me is nothing. And if you think about it in the grand scheme of everything, yes, we're nothing. All of us. I mean, there's not one person in the world that's worth anything in the grand scheme of things. It's weird, but that's the way it is. So, you know, school board, parents of school board or parents of school kids, invest in your child's education. If more is done at home, it costs less in the system. And don't worry about the type of scheduling. Block scheduling, regular scheduling, modified block scheduling, modified regular block scheduling, block modified regular scheduling, whatever it is. Give the education system not only the tools and good stock to work with, give them the power to do their jobs. And school board members, start thinking about ways that we can, it's not just changing the scheduling. It's about changing the entire system. When the education system was originally formed, and I believe when the federal government formed this whole Department of Education thing, their intent was to make sure that everybody came out of schools the same, so that they could all roll into the factories, because it was during the Industrial Revolution. They wanted to teach everybody so that anybody could roll right into the factories, you know, and pick up and do the labor thing. It's different now. And there are so many different careers and so many different paths to go once you leave high school. Problem is, the kids leaving school have only a fraction of the knowledge that they need to be choosing which paths they're going to choose for the long run. And it's sad. And it's because they're not exposed. I say, that's why I say, more periods, more variety of classes, and it won't cost any more money. Ask the math teacher what he does for hobbies. Does he like to chisel wood? Maybe he could give a little wood chiseling class once a week. You know? Does your science teacher, I don't know, like to snowshoe? Or like to tie flies? Or like to, you know, there are any number of things that teachers could double as. And yes, I know teachers don't make enough as it is. But, you know, that's ultimately was their choice to become a teacher. As far as I've known, teachers have never really made great money. So, but we do what we can do, you know, and I just hope we get it settled down. I mean, the other issue is the whole, you know, changing of how we run our elementary schools. Now it's, well, let's make this school first grade, and this school second grade, and this school third grade, and this school fourth grade. And what are we going to bus our kids all over the damn town? It's just a waste of time. I grew up right down the street from the school I went to. I walked to school every day. Yeah. Of course, I know you can't do that these days, but I figure if I don't know, if I'm going to insist on gym classes, then I can, you know, insist that probably kids could safely walk to school. So, I don't know. That's kind of a joke without saying a joke. But, because I don't want to get into the whole Penn State, wherever, all of a sudden all these college coaches. It's horrible. I talked about that in the last show with the role models and why we let our kids look up to people when we know absolutely nothing about them. So, kids, try and think of school as a job. You know, you're damn lucky you get summer vacations. You're damn lucky you get all the damn holidays and teacher workshops that you get. I wish I had as many days off from work. But when you get into the real world, get ready. because it's all going to change. And no matter what your high school advisors tell you, you will not be ready. You won't be. Trust me. Nobody's ever ready. So, well, you know, I think I've run out of stuff to say. And let me run the email for you, if I can get to it. Oh, it does, yeah. There we go. talkingawe@cheshiretv.org. Email me with questions, comments, tell me I'm a jerk, you know, tell me you agree with me. Tell me you'd love to see your kids in school 365 days a year. Well, minus vacation and holidays. Tell me whatever you want to tell me. I can take it. Don't worry. So, that's going to wrap it up for me. Until next week, take care of each other and be good.